Just when you thought the government was starting to get a handle on the coronavirus outbreak, medical experts say there's another side effect on the horizon: drug shortages. It's starting with the pharmaceuticals that are key to fighting the disease: sedatives like midazolam and propofol, which are needed when people are on ventilators, or asthma medications like albuterol. But now there are signs it's spreading to drugs that are everyday staples, like Tylenol, which Johnson & Johnson announced last week was experiencing, quote, temporary scarcity. Just about everything we're used to getting in generic form could soon be impacted. This isn't like the problems we've all been seeing with toilet paper and frozen vegetables, where supermarket shelves have been stripped bare by overzealous shoppers. Instead, it has to do with the way that drugs are manufactured around the globe, and how reliant we've become on just a small handful of producers for the raw materials, known as active pharmaceutical ingredients, or APIs. According to the FDA, only 28% of APIs used in products approved for the American drug market were actually produced in the United States. Most of the rest, well, they come from places like China and Europe and India, which is the world's largest manufacturer of generic drugs, including President Trump's personal favorite, hydroxychloroquine. India, by the way, gets a full 3/4 of its raw materials from China. All of those places were hit hard by the coronavirus outbreak, forcing them to shut down factories or slow production. I spoke with Stephen Lin, a former FDA official who now consults with drug companies about their supply chains.
There's vulnerabilities throughout the supply chain, and I think from a worst case perspective, I don't think any of us thought it would be like this. But yeah, there's something I've been worried about for a long time now.
You're describing a system that really has these choke points, these bottlenecks,
yes,
where almost everything of some API, some raw material, almost all of it comes from one place. And if that place is cut down or if it's reducing production, we're in big trouble.
China has, monopolized and got a lot of these drugs within their borders. So, for instance, if they were to shut down their borders, we wouldn't have some of the antibiotics that we need, or a lot of our antibiotics. They could kill, a big chunk of the global population just by not, sending out their antibiotics or the raw materials for the, the final dosage form of whatever the antibiotic may be. It's scary.
This isn't a new problem, even if it's surfacing now in an unprecedented way. Last year, an official with the FDA told Congress that the supply chain for American drugs was so thin and murky that she couldn't even say precisely how dependent we are on China. Around the same time, a Pentagon official told Congress that the national security risks of that dependency, quote, cannot be overstated. If all that sounds like a perfect recipe for making the American pharmaceutical industry great again, well, it kind of is. But pharmaceuticals were an untouchable part of the Trump administration's trade talks with China, and they haven't had much to say about it during the current coronavirus outbreak either. That's because to do so would be to admit that they haven't done much to fix the problem in the last 3 years. It's also because fixing the problem would go against something that most Americans really like about the way the system currently works. Those drugs from China and India are dirt cheap.